The West Virginia Mountaineers have a front runner in this race. It is widely believed, and Wren Baker is making a huge push to steal him from Iowa.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host, and this is Locked On West Virginia. Appreciate you guys for being here and enjoying another great episode of the show. Brought to you by Game Time today. Of course, we love Game Time around here. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, guys, not doing this one alone. Teased it earlier on X. Obviously, we're going to bring on a friend of the show, none other than Country Roads Webcast, my buddy Jordan. Thanks for joining, brother. What's up?
Hey, doing all right, Paul. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So it's been a crazy couple days. Watching your show, your head was spinning the
Definitely.
day this happened. I could see that you were equally as upset as I was at the way Coach DeVries left. I think we're both in agreement on that. For those on my show who haven't got your initial take on the way Darren DeVries left, it's not that you took the Indiana job. Nobody's mad that you took I don't know, maybe over the last 20 years, it's not a better job. But generally speaking, it's better pay. It's better NIL, right?
Right.
So what was your initial reaction to the way he left?
Yeah, I think, like you said there, it's not necessarily leaving for, a job. You can call it better job. Even if you want to call it lateral, whatever, it's, closer to home for him, more money. Anyone's going to take, a pay upgrade at one job if they get an opportunity, another job to raise their salary, of course. But I think for me, it's more just, like you said, the way that it happened, because to me, that's just kind of a coward way to do it. You don't notify your players. You don't notify the assistant coaches. I mean, you could have even sent a text. Even that would have been better than nothing. And I think, what it kind of boils down to is, like, in hindsight, is that really the type of character person that you want leading young men at your university anyway, I guess. So, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way when you handle something in that manner. I just don't think it's the way to go about it.
I 1000% agree. And I just felt bad. We got these kids were playing with 7 guys, 8 guys, short bench, exhausted, get left out of the tournament. You don't even console them from that. You say, you know what, we're going to do me. We're not going to play in the CVI. We're not going to play in the NIT. We're going to go get this job over here. No last game for you guys. It's all about me, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it felt.
It's heartbreaking for Javon Small and those guys, for sure. I mean, Javon worked his butt off for this team.
Absolutely. Well, let's address this elephant in the room here, man. Obviously, you sent me something, and then I went ahead and, after you sent this to me, I went ahead and back-checked with a couple people because I just wanted to see where they were at on this. You hit it dead on the head. West Virginia making a huge push for McCollum right now, and it's not just us here talking about it. It's pretty widely known at this point. He's probably at the top of the list. There may be a mystery candidate we don't know about, but I'd be shocked at this point. I think McCollum is the guy. You swing and miss on him, then you fall into 2 or 3 other guys that are in the second tier, right, Jordan? So yeah. I think this is interesting because it's literally the same narrative that was around Darren DeVries. It's the hometown Iowa guy. Will he choose the program that is struggling financially, the program that is home, the program that has very little NIL, or will he choose the program that is better in pretty much every other way, and that includes on the floor, but not home? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, to me, the X factor involved here is obviously Wren Baker, because of Wren Baker's, previous relationship with Ben McCollum back at Northwestern Missouri State there. And I think that maybe that could give us a little bit more leeway, and I think that that's why we have a puncher's chance right now, because, other reports prior to, today were really he was kind of talking to Iowa. Everyone at Iowa believed he was the favorite, especially after DeVries went to Indiana. And then, of course, today we get the info from, some college basketball insiders and others that Wren Baker's making a strong push for Ben McCollum, trying to battle out Iowa and get him to come to WVU. And as you said, I think obviously he's from the Midwest. He's from that area, so that is home for him. But I think West Virginia beats them out in every other category. We know Iowa's NIL's nowhere near where it needs to be. They're struggling financially, as you mentioned. And, the previous relationship with Wren Baker, that's something that I'd mentioned on one of my shows recently, was just, I think that even though Ben McCollum may be leaning toward Iowa right now, if Wren Baker picks up the phone and says, hey, I can give you this, I can give you this much NIL, we can build a roster, and, we've been successful together before, that's at least a call that Ben McCollum has to answer, and it's going to definitely be a decision he has to make that's going to weigh heavily. A lot of different factors at play, but I like West Virginia's chances in that battle with Iowa, especially with Wren Baker being the one pulling the strings, because he's been successful in hires in the past. He knows how to entice guys to come to this program, and he knows how to sell WVU to coaches as well. So, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I do like West Virginia's chances with Wren Baker throwing his hat into the rink to go after Ben McCollum and try and steal him away from Iowa.
1,000% agree, man. And I was thinking about this earlier. What's it going to take? Obviously, most of us know by now that Wren Baker was prepared to, and unfortunately didn't get to, try to match the Indiana offer, which just leans to, like I said on my show, if you need any more proof that they basically left without telling the players anything, it's that they didn't even get the counter offer.
Right.
Like they were out of here. Like there was no conversation on any level with anyone. So that being said, we've been told it was going to be competitive with Iowa, maybe not quite at the 6 million mark after all the bonuses and incentives, but we were hearing towards a Huggins level, right? Which is right at the top of the Big 12, right over $4 million. And also a guaranteed somewhere in that 5 to 6 range in NIL, I was told. I haven't been able to confirm that 100% yet, but it sounded good.
Yeah, definitely.
So, where do you think you start at with a guy like McCollum if you're trying to beat out an Iowa? Do you think you kind of have to blow his doors off to get him, or do you think you can just stay within it if you can somehow figure out what they're offering and stay within reason of that, or do you think you need to just go above and beyond?
I think that, in my personal opinion, I think Wren Baker's ready to, give him a sweet deal, especially knowing the money that he's got coming in from Indiana, as he mentioned in his press conference, or maybe the highest buyout ever for a college basketball coach. I believe that's what he stated.
Wow.
So, that's going to help as well, and you can really sweeten the pot for him. And I think if it's a bidding war, then, you go at it full force, and Wren Baker seems like the guy that he would definitely do. And as you said, Wren Baker may not come out and say it, but there's definitely been signs that he's perturbed by everything that happened in the way that it went down with Coach DeVries. The billboards coming down already in Morgantown with Coach DeVries on them, which is something that didn't happen on the football side. So I think that, if he's scorned and he wants to go out and get a good coach, I think that he's going to go all out for Ben McCollum.
I love that angle. Because hell hath no fury like a Baker scorned.
Yeah, there you go.
And he's got the sunglasses on. We need to place him back in black while he's putting on the West Virginia jacket, and just have him slow walk out for like one of these videos they do back in the department as they hire McCollum, and then they just rip the DeVries poster off the wall with McCollum. Like, that'd be so funny, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. The media team will come up with something good. They'll cook something.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about McCollum really quick. We got a couple minutes before break. What is it about him as a coach to you? That, because there's a lot of similarities between he and Darren DeVries, actually.
There is.
Between their acumen and everything else. And we've heard from multiple people, or if you've watched any videos lately, people go to McCollum for advice. 4 national championships at the D2 level.
Yeah, that's what's extremely impressive is just the way that he's won. Last year when we were going through this search, he was a guy that's name popped up. But I think the one thing that, allowed him not to kind of be, a real candidate, so to speak, is just the fact that he hadn't done it at this level yet, hadn't done it at the Division I level. And so people were wondering, well, can you take a chance on a guy coming from that other division? But, incredible record there. Multiple 100 wins and under less than 100 losses. And then comes here to Drake this season, leads them to 30 wins in an NCAA tournament appearance. So I think, his track record is definitely proven. Honestly, if you stack it up against some of the other candidates that's been named record-wise, he towers above, and especially, national championships, I don't care what level they're coming from. When you have multiple of them, that definitely speaks volumes as well. I think he runs really good stuff on offense. He brings the intensity on defense, like you said, kind of similar to the DeVries style that we saw this past season, but I think his offensive sets are a little bit better in my opinion, and I really have liked Ben McCollum. I liked him last year even. I know that, like I said, he hadn't done it at this level, so I was a little bit nervous about that, but I think now it's proven that you could go out and get him and you could win with him right away.
1000%, guys. Let's go to a quick break. On the other end of the break, I'm going to ask Jordan about some of these other top choices. Who does he like? Who doesn't he like? Is there anybody that he maybe likes more than Ben McCollum? We'll talk about that next, guys. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia with the Country Roads webcast crossover. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by none other than Monarch Money, guys. We love Monarch Money around here. If you haven't heard of Monarch Money, you need to go check it out. As even your bank account, if you ever look at it and wonder, where did all my money go? Well, between dining out, shopping, online entertainment, it's easy to lose track. And that's where Monarch Money comes in. They can be your personal CFO, giving you visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one convenient place. So stop managing your money and start building your wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track your spending, and even plan long-term goals. Take control of your finances today with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com/LockedOnCollege for half off your first year. And we obviously don't want to forget about our other favorite place around here, guys. You know it. I talk about them a lot because we love Game Time. It's one of my favorite ads to read. Imagine watching your favorite team live and feeling the energy of the crowd and witnessing unforgettable moments. Well, there's nothing like experiencing a big game in Morgantown. Getting tickets shouldn't be stressful. That's where Game Time comes in, making it easier than ever to grab last-minute seats at unbeatable prices. Game Time picks make curation easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. It gives you peace of mind with seats. You can view them in the app before you buy. No surprise fees at checkout with their lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off, and download the Game Time app today. That's last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And you have to ask yourself the question of questions. What time is it? It's game time. And we are in segment 2 with Jordan from Country Roads Webcast. It's time to crack a do in segment 2. Did you bring one, Jordan?
I got a little coffee. I should have brought some Mountain Dew, for the segment 2, but I know it's sacrilege maybe to say on this show, but I'm not the biggest Mountain Dew fan. Like, I don't like the regular. I like Code Red. I like the flavors a little bit, but the regular Mountain Dew not my best. I do have some Dr. Pepper Blackberry in there. That's what I've been drinking a lot lately. That stuff's delicious.
Is it good? I haven't tried that one yet. I have Dr. Pepper cream soda in there.
I was trying to bring it with me, and then in segment 3 I was going to crack my Dr. P, but I forgot. But I do have my coffee.
Hey, you know what's funny is I tried some Mexican Coke yesterday.
How was that?
It sounds so bad, doesn't it? Yeah. So the Mexican Coca-Cola. I'm in recovery, guys. 5 years. I haven't done anything in 5 years. It was actually, I couldn't tell a difference. I don't know where. I mean, it's great out of the glass bottle. They sell it at my Kroger's down here. It's even in Spanish. It says from Mexico. The labels look all grungy, but like, it was okay. I mean, I couldn't honestly tell much of a difference between that and regular Coke. I was expecting more.
Yeah,
$7.99 for it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I'm guessing maybe they use actual sugar instead of corn syrup or something. Probably like the only difference.
Maybe,
I bet.
Yeah, maybe so. Okay, Jordan. So I don't know if I can handle another letdown because I'm really I'm all in on Ben McCollum. I really am. I it's to the point now to where I'm probably going to be disappointed in almost anybody else. I don't know if you're quite to that level.
Similar because I mean, when initially it was Will Wade and Ben McCollum were my two favorites. Will Wade out of the picture, and then now hopefully I got my fingers crossed. We got a fighter's chance for McCollum. We'll see what happens. I think there is some other good candidates, but those were definitely my top.
There
two.
is. And we don't know who's going to succeed or how. To be honest, if I had my druthers, and this is just my druthers, I'd probably go Medved next. I like the way he plays defense there. He's winning 23, 24, 25 games a year at Colorado State. It's not exactly a basketball power, and he's it's you give that guy resources. I think he would very much compete in this league. I think he's kind of built for the Big 12, but unfortunately, Minnesota, right, is in the race there. But I don't know. Maybe you can make him an offer that Minnesota can't as well. It's interesting. So I was going to bring up a few guys to you. Might as well start there with Nico Medved. What do you think about the Colorado State coach?
I like Nico Medved. I think that obviously he was a name that was tossed around last year a lot and was in the mix.
I think he was kind of close.
And I think, like you said, the Minnesota native for him, but his wife is, from Morgantown. So it'd be interesting to see how that would shake out if he had a chance to go to either place. Would he choose his hometown, or would he try and be happy wife, happy life and come to WVU? That would be funny to see. But like you said, great defense, and I think that's something that Wren Baker obviously looks for when he's looking at these head coaches. He said that in the past. He wants someone that brings great defense to the table. So he's definitely one that's up there on my list for sure. I would not be upset with Nico Medved by any means. He's a little bit older than some of the other ones on the list, I do believe. I think he's in his 50s, if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, great success at Colorado State. Got him back in the tournament this year, and you could do a lot worse.
And ironically enough, he's also coached at Drake before for a year. So I don't know if we can get away from
Drake fans may hate us, man, by the time this is all said and done.
Right. So funny that we get. I mean, Drake's one of those stops now. I think it's turned into Darren DeVries helped make it there. There, and let's just be honest. He did. He built it into a program where you can kind of stepping stone, right? It's like the Troy in football or some places like that. But looking at it, man, there's a couple other names I'm going to bring up. Obviously, everybody wants to know about Jared Calhoun from Liverpool, Ohio. It doesn't even sound like it goes together, but it does. And obviously we know he was a part of that Cleveland State team that went deep in the tournament there in the early 2000s. I remember that. Went to as a student assistant with Coach Huggins at Cincinnati, then followed him to Walsh, then to the Mountaineers. Like, he followed him forever before he went off on his own to Fairmont State, Youngstown State, and now Utah State. What do you think about the Hugs disciple?
I've got mixed feelings on Jared Calhoun, to be honest with you, because I think the one side is probably the thing that appeals to a lot of the fan base is he's probably the one guy that you could go get that would be the most stable, that would not probably leave here immediately and would stay here for quite a while because of his ties to West Virginia in the past, having been, like you said, at WVU under Hugs, and then, of course, being in the state at Fairmont State after that. But, I don't think he's my favorite. He's a little bit further down the list for me. I'm just not quite sold on him yet. I really can't quite tell you exactly what the reason for that. It's just kind of a gut feeling, I guess, more than anything, because he has had success taking Fairmont State to the D2 title game. Youngstown State, a team that's traditionally not very good, took them to 2 20-plus win seasons. And then, of course, now at Utah State, showing he can do it at this level. Yeah, and Utah State's in the tournament. So he has had some success here at the Division I level now. I think, if you're looking for stability, you're going to go that angle. But I think, as some reports have said, the ties to Huggins may deter Wren Baker a little bit from going after Calhoun.
That's out there, right? Mm-hmm. The ties to Huggins is a bridge. Like, you bring in Calhoun, you welcome back Huggins. It just comes with it, right?
Yep.
Calhoun's not going to kick Huggins out of the building. He built the building, right? So that's something you invite in with the Calhoun. I'm not against that at all. I think with Gee gone, it's the perfect time if you're going to do it.
That's a good point.
If you're going to do it, you might as well do it now before he dies, and then we don't have a chance to. Let's just be honest. He's 3 years old now?
Yeah,
close
72
to
or 73, I think, yeah.
What do you think about the narrative? A lot of fans still hold on to the fact that Bob Huggins can come back at 73 years old and coach. Listen, if I knew his mental faculties were all there, here's the thing, guys. I say this probably too often about myself being in recovery, but that gives me an intimate knowledge of what certain drugs and certain chemicals do to people. And alcohol is right there at the top with meth and heroin as far as what it does to the brain and how it damages the brain. And you can go look it up anywhere. It takes anywhere from 3 to 5 years for the brain to fully heal from severe alcohol abuse. And from what we're told, it was pretty bad with him.
That's a good point.
I have my concerns that he just lost a lot. He's not the same guy he was at 50 when he got here, or whatever he's. I don't know how old he was, maybe 49, but he was in that range like Medved. He's not that guy anymore. He's not that guy that you can go look up the coaching tapes and say, "Oh my God, how impressive was he?" teaching the game to people. I think that if you gave him the resources, I think he could probably still win, maybe. But I mean, if you're going to go for a 73-year-old guy, I would go for John Beeline.
Yeah.
I would. If you're going to go that route, just go for John Beeline.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to go somebody that age, there's, I think, multiple other options that you could put, like Jay Wright, John Beeline. I mean, all kinds of, if you're going that route. And the thing I've said is I don't think that he's anywhere near the search, anywhere near the list. I know fans are going to throw that name out there.
He looked uncomfortable, didn't he? Brendan?
Yeah. And when the thing I said is, I think if you're pulling up Huggins' name, to me, it's Vince McMahon's entrance music. No chance in hell. I mean, it's not happening.
I love that. I love that. We got a super chat here, guys, and I just have to let you all know I turned those off, and for whatever reason, they got turned back on. Appalachia Africa Twin, which is an incredible name. I'm going to put it up here because you spent $10. Thank you for this. A lot of you guys don't know where I work for Locked On now. I don't get these anymore, but I do appreciate this. It's very, very kind of you. Love the show, MP. Thanks for your work and bringing us the up-to-date news around Morgantown. I appreciate this very much. I need to reiterate, I'll give you guys a way to, in the future, try to maybe send the money to me if that's what you meant for it to be, or if you want to send it to Locked On, you're more than welcome. I'm not going to stop you, but I'm not getting it. So just a quick update on that. So thank you very much for the super chat, and we try to do what we can here for you. Jordan, let's go to one more quick break, man. And on the other side of the break, we'll knock off a couple of these candidates, get your thoughts on them, and then we'll just do a quick recap and see if there's – I don't think there's any more news that's happened since we've been on here, but we'll see. Be right back, guys. This is Locked On West Virginia. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by none other than 5 Hour Energy, which is, I mean, to be honest, sometimes I got to have 5 Hour Energy. It's just one of those things, man. If it didn't get me so jittery. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. If you're feeling like that lost hour of sleep is gone from you, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late, watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in around a golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Basketball madness is here, and I've been staying up late watching all the tournament action, even though I didn't want to, have to for work, and 5 Hour Energy helps me keep up the next day. On-the-go convenience, obviously, whether I'm at a game or out traveling, 5 Hour Energy is easy to grab and keeps me feeling refreshed. So head over to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, guys, including watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango, and you can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack, and it's delivered right to your front door. If you need one now, grab a 5 Hour Energy pack at your local grocery or convenience store. They're basically everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. No worries, guys. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. We are in segment 3. No Dr. P. It's in the back somewhere, Jordan said. Before we go any further, I have to mention this. Tell everybody where they can find you at, Jordan.
I appreciate that, Paul. Yeah, you guys can come check us out. Country Roads Webcast on YouTube. We're on all podcast platforms as well, covering all things WVU football throughout the offseason, leading into the Rich Rod 2.0 era, and trying to cover this WVU basketball coaching search as it proceeds through as well.
Awesome, man. And Jordan does excellent work, guys. I really couldn't recommend him enough. He's really good at what he does. I say it every time he comes on here, but he is.
Thanks, man.
Deserving of any success that he gets, for sure. Is any updates, by the way? Did you have a chance to look while I was doing those reads?
I didn't see anything yet, but okay. It's hard to tell because it's always minute to minute, hour to hour by hour with these coaching searches, right?
Yep, it is. I did see something from. Hold on. Let me just look really quick at one thing. Really quick before we move on. Okay. Nope, nothing there. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean to babble on there for a second, but Jordan, let's go through a couple more of these coaches on the list. Everybody's got a list. I'm I'm kind of going in the order of coaches that I think will honestly be involved in the search. And we can't go any further without mentioning Chester Frazier.
Yes.
And I'm going to do a two-parter here. Obviously, as the head coach, but if not, I've been told today, I've seen it floating around other places too, that people think he is willing to stay on at West Virginia in some capacity with the coach incoming, and whoever's coming in will be stupid not to hire this guy.
Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree. I
He's
love
elite.
Chester Frazier, elite recruiter. Helped us build the roster this season, and I think if you keep him on, whether he's head coach or not, which personally I think that Wren Baker values head coaching experience a lot. So I don't know if he would be willing to promote Chester Frazier without him having that head coach experience under his belt. But like you said, you want to keep this guy on staff. You can keep your roster that you have intact. You can keep Buck Harris. You can keep Amani Hansberry, and then hopefully, go out and get some more recruits. Keep Braden Hawthorne in the fold since you lost McLean and Odie. Hopefully, you can at least keep Hawthorne, and he can help you go out and get some more pieces. So I think that he is super valuable asset to this coaching staff, and whoever comes in should definitely keep Chester Frazier if he doesn't get a shot at the head job himself.
And you know what else is kind of funny is if it is McCollum, just hypothetically, you basically just replace Tucker DeVries with Garrett Sturtz, right?
Yeah,
and it's like a lot of the same, it's similar players, man. If you guys haven't seen Garrett Sturtz play, I don't want to get you too excited about him. Obviously, he's not quite as big as Tucker, 6'4". He's only a junior, 180. He's obviously the big player of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference. He's 19 points a game. Really good player. It would be incredible to see him come in with the guys already on the roster. It'd be a great fit. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But I agree with you as well on Chester Frazier. I think if he ended up being the head coach, I would be worried a little bit, just a little bit, because it would be outside of if this happens. Let's just be honest, Jordan. Wren Baker struck out on some guys, right? I don't think he's going to be the first, second, third choice here. I'm not saying he shouldn't be. Honestly, he could take this thing and run with it. But I think that it's out of Wren Baker's MO, right? He hires proven, and I got it written down. I've still got this written down from his press conference yesterday. First thing I wrote down is proven successful coach, because that's what he said, right? So it's he's not that. He's a proven successful assistant, and it's just different. So I do think that whoever comes in will be silly not to keep the guy on staff and let these kids finish what they started together. I'm praying to God that Sincere, KJ, all these guys get to Amani, obviously, get to finish what they started, Jordan.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to at least have some building blocks and not have to have a complete, total roster overhaul again for the second straight year. For sure.
100%.
But let me ask you, Paul, because there's a name that's up on my list, kind of a little bit higher than some others, and I don't think
Ryan Odom?
A ton of people. He is up there actually. When I went through the list last night, I didn't realize that he was the coach of UMBC that beat Virginia before he came to VCU, and so that intrigued me on him. But one that I actually kind of like and intrigues me and is up there for me is Richard Pitino. What are your thoughts on Richard Pitino?
Yeah, that is an interesting one, man. Obviously, he's got the pedigree. He's young. He's only, 42, 43 years old. New Mexico is a very proud tradition and has had great basketball success in the past. The Minnesota run, right, is
that's what gives you pause.
It's the pause. It's the deterrent. It's not an easy job. But, man, they went 0-10 in the regular season there in the conference, at one point to finish I think his last year. So that
the tail end of his run there was rough.
But here's the other part to that. That was in a non-transactional time during college basketball. And I truly and firmly believe there are going to be coaches like Will Wade, like Lane Kiffin, like Deion Sanders that are going to succeed more in this transactional period where everything is transactional. How many times can I say transactional in a minute? Let's count. When you're literally, this is all the people care about, right? So guys like Bob Huggins, like others that build teams over the course of 3 or 4 years, the art to that is way different than being able to build a team with money, right? So
Yeah.
I think you have to be able to evaluate either way. I'm just saying developing players that aren't very good over time is an art that's kind of being lost in this era, in my opinion. So I think Patino is a guy that could be the exception. Maybe he's succeeding because he's better at this style.
Yeah,
So
he's got that too, and he was super young, when he was at Minnesota the first time.
Yeah,
So maybe
for
he's a bit more
sure.
seasoned now. It
Yeah.
could be possible.
I wouldn't hate it. I just I would have some worry there, and I don't know. I mean, their NET ranking this year was really good. They I mean, they were a really good basketball team. 26 wins 2 years in a row. I like a lot about it. They've been to the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row there. His first year was rough at New Mexico. So, I mean, there's positive negatives with all these guys,
Right.
Jordan.
For
So
sure.
I could see a little bit of everything with all of them. I do have one or two more guys really quick that I wanted to ask you about.
All right.
So there's a couple guys on this list that I would. So Chris Mack, let's just start with Chris Mack because I think he's guaranteed to succeed if you give him the resources. I believe.
Yeah, I like Chris Mack is one that I like a lot because there's a couple of these coaches on this list that have previous experience coaching at the power conference level. Xavier isn't power conference, but it may as well be. They're one of the best mid-majors year after year. And then, of course, his run at Louisville wasn't as good as his run at Xavier, especially towards the tail end. But I think he has that experience, and then now he's gotten back into it. He's being successful again at College of Charleston. I think you could do a lot worse than Chris Mack. He's definitely one that's higher up on the list for me. If there's someone that's probably behind Ben McCollum, it may be Chris Mack for me. He's right there, near the top of the wish list. For me, it's it was Will Wade and Ben McCollum and then kind of everyone else, but Chris Mack may be the head of that everyone else group.
Yeah, absolutely. I could be with you on that. Along with maybe a Shirts. I think a Shirts
like
is
Shirts,
very
too.
underrated, but I don't think St. Louis is a good job. I think West Virginia's a better job, and he might leave it, but I don't know if he really proved anything in this first year there that says he's an elite coach with better than some of these other candidates. 19 wins, but it's year one. But at the same time, you can really turn things around quickly. It's
Right.
one of those back and forths, right? I'm going to name a couple other guys. You pick who you want to talk about.
All right.
Bob Ritchie, Bryce Drew, Ross Hodge, Alan Huss, Ryan. Well, you already talked about Ryan Oden.
I think Ross Hodge is intriguing. Kind of what we talked about with Ben McCollum with the ties to Wren Baker. Ross Hodge obviously has similar ties. He was an assistant in North Texas before he became the head coach, so he has that relationship with Wren Baker. So you got to wonder if the fact that Wren Baker knows someone personally, if that moves them up the list a little bit. So I think he is probably a guy that's, I would say, at least going to be contacted, if nothing else. And it does intrigue me because you look at what Grant McCaslin's done at Texas Tech. You can bring in a North Texas guy that Wren Baker has ties to, and, Wren Baker did a great job finding Grant McCaslin. If he finds Ross Hodge, I trust Wren Baker more than anything. That's kind of the bottom line here, I guess. And if it's a guy that has ties to him and he feels like would be good here and would be a fit here, let's go get him.
Man, I appreciate you for coming on. It's been fun. These always go by so quickly with
They
you
do.
up here.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Is there anything you wanted to say that you didn't get to say on this episode?
No, man, I think we pretty well covered it. I will say that one wild card that does intrigue me, though, is Bucky McMillan, just that Bucky ball style.
Yeah, that was the one
man.
I forgot to bring up. Yeah.
Pressing, shooting a lot of threes. That would be fun to watch and stuff. You don't really know exactly because it's kind of similar to what we talked about with McCollum last year. Can he get it done at this level? He's got Samford in the NIT. They did have a good year, but that is intriguing. Just someone that's a little bit off the beaten path, so to speak, and plays a little bit different style. But that's kind of what you need at West Virginia. You need to be different. So I think there's a lot of good names on this list that we've talked about. Multiple ones that I would not be mad at. And like I said, bottom line, trust Wren at the end of the day. But definitely want to say thanks for having me on, man. Been following all your stuff. Love the Locked On West Virginia show. You do great content as always, Paul. You're the best in the business, especially when it comes to investigating things, getting in the know stuff, man. That's why I always pay attention to your show because you have it usually before everyone else, even if you don't always get the credit you deserve. I see it, man, and I appreciate you.
That means a lot, man. Yeah, it means a lot. I'll tell you what, man, when that Pat White thing happened, I walked right into that. Obviously, that was just luck. I mean, I went into it with a purpose, but There were some people that were mad about having to give me credit for that. They were. There was a few people that were really mad about it. So I do appreciate it, though. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man.
Guys, make sure you check out Country Roads webcast over here. He does an excellent job. He keeps great order, great lists. He's very, what's the word do you want to use to describe what you do?
Let's go studious.
Very studious. Okay. I like it. So does a great job over there, guys. And he records probably at least 3-4 times a week, right?
Yeah.
He records not as much as I do because it's my job to do this every day. But he records almost every day for a guy that's got a full-time job. So that's pretty dang good. Appreciate you guys for joining in. We got up to 600-700 of you guys in here. That's pretty good. Not everybody's quite off work yet, so we'll take that. I do plan on going live and talking some football tonight because I just want to talk some football. I'm itching to talk about some football. I don't know how well it's going to blow over with everything, but if you guys want to see some stuff about football, come back here in a couple hours and I'll be live. Until then, guys, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your very first listen of the day. If I could make a suggestion, Locked On College Basketball, Isaac Shade and Andy Patton do an excellent job over there. And March is here. We're right in the middle of the tournament, and they're going to keep you up to date on all the hottest takes, including anything you like about your specific team that you may have bet on in the bracket and going forward. So make sure you check out Locked On College Basketball wherever you get your podcast or on YouTube. And we'll see you on the next one, guys. Can Wren Baker beat out Iowa for Ben McCollum? It's going to be fascinating. And Wren we trust. I got the faith. I think we're going to knock his socks off with the deal. If not, we move on. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great one. We're out of here.